I mean that with all due respect to my buddy Todd. You guys know we're good buddies. I love Todd.
Yes. All right, here we go. We're live on the Metal Voice. Live. And you know what? I did the math. Okay, before we got on, I go, who is the guest that has appeared the most times on the Metal Voice?
Oh.
After 11 years. Guess, Michael.
Well, I wouldn't guess me.
The top three.
Okay.
Actually, top two. I thought it was you, actually. You're number two. But Todd Latore was number one.
See what it is with me, man. Lately in my old age, and I think Todd will eventually get there.
Okay.
I like to stretch things out a little bit more, and not do quite as much.
Quality over quantity.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I like to kind of do things, at a little slower pace. That's all. I don't know.
It's all good. You're still in the top three. Maybe if you do a couple more shows in the next few months, we can get you up there. It's all good.
Let's do another one tomorrow, and I'll be number one again.
It'll be like that Saturday Night Live guest hosts where they keep track. So,
all right, here we go. The new studio album, The Final Battle Is Here, is due in October on Frontiers Music SRL. Stryper also will be streaming live from the trees in Dallas, Texas on Thursday, September 29th at 9 p.m. And you know what? We just went to see the Scorpions before we get into the album and all that. And Whitesnake. They had to cancel. And the first thing I thought of is, me and Alan were actually talking about this, and I go, why don't they call up Stryper? Like, why don't they get Stryper? Like, here's a viable band that could sort of bring in, a different crowd, perhaps. Not that they won't bring in the metal crowd, but they could bring in their own.
Well, when you ask a question like that, man, there's so many answers to that question.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to be the one to give you those answers. I think, anyone who has the smarts can figure it out. I mean, one is the fact that who we are, who we sing about. I don't know why, I don't understand it, but people fear what we sing about. And the way they react to that is through mockery or, poking the bear, poking fun at us, or whatever you want to call it. And it's this constant disrespect because of what we sing about and who we sing about. And I find it so interesting and odd because, you got all these other bands that sing about Satan, which is stupid in my opinion. You know what I mean? But you want to talk about ridiculous. That's about as ridiculous as it gets. But I don't go around telling people that. I don't go around saying, oh my gosh, I can't listen to that band because, the lyrics are ridiculous. I still listen to the bands and I love the music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But why can't people do that with Stryper? I have no clue why. But then when people say that we suck, it's like that's really laughable. Stryper does not suck in any universe. And when people say that, it's just absolute ignorance is all it is.
But I mean, you're a music fan, and we all pay our hard-earned cash to see the groups, and Whitesnake couldn't make it. Understandable, no problem. But the fact that they didn't replace, basically a co-headliner. I'm in the crowd, and I'm a huge Whitesnake fan, so that's besides the point. But I mean, it's just the fact that they didn't offer up another band, and then we interviewed Skid Row. They seem to be available. You guys, there's so many bands we can name. How come nobody ever reached out and just even tried to fill their shoes? So.
Well,
does the phone ring, Michael? Does the phone ring? Like, oh, Judas Priest. Oh, it's Whitesnake. Oh, it's Scorpion. Does it ring?
No, not for us. Now, the thing is, too, in all fairness, you've got a lot of great bands out there. Skid Row's an amazing band, I'm certainly not implying that we're any better than Skid Row. Queensryche, they're going out and doing the Scorpions thing. I'm not implying we're any better than Queensryche, but we certainly hold our own.
Yeah.
And when you come and see Stryper play, you're going to get a rock show, and I think most people will leave satisfied. And it's really disheartening that we don't ever get those calls. And I just scratch my head and I just kind of say, God, why. I have no clue. I mean, I do know why, but I don't know why, if that makes any sense. It's just, it's a mystery to me, because we deserve the opportunity to go out and play with these bands just like any other band, and not only deserve the opportunity, but I think surprisingly it would shock a lot of fans. I think most people that would go to a show like that, say to see Judas Priest or Scorpions, and if Stryper came out and opened the show, I think most people, if you were standing there with the microphone saying, "So what'd you think?" Stryper opening, I think most people would say, "Wow, it was awesome. I was surprised." I think they'd be pleasantly surprised.
I agree with you. I would, Alan, why don't we just say, all right, Stryper's on the bill, and you'd probably win over a lot more fans that you never had before in the past,
Because we sing about Jesus. Period.
Well, we spoke about this the last time we interviewed you, and then we did an unofficial survey, and the guys in Kicks would tour with you anytime.
Dude, I tell you what, the guys in Kicks are awesome. We've done many shows with them over the years. They're great guys. They're a great band. They're stand-up. I respect those guys so much for who they are and what they've done. And God bless them, man. And I know there's a lot of bands out there that would tour with Stryper and have toured with Stryper. I mean, we've been very blessed, and so I'm not complaining at all.
No. We're just. So is this a promoter thing, or is this a band thing? Like the promoter just doesn't see it happening. He's worried the ticket sales might not go the way it is. It can't just be about Jesus, right?
I think most of it is about Jesus. Not all of it, but most of it is. Unfortunately, it's interesting because we just got booked on the Hell and Heaven tour. And we're playing a 4-night run, and you got Slipknot and Judas Priest and all these bands, and not really any other bands from our genre on the bill, but Stryper's on the bill. Yeah, Merciful Fate is going on after us, two or three acts after us.
Oh, I like that.
So I mean, Mexico gets it.
Yeah,
they get it. And it's like Stryper deserves that. Yeah. And when we go play into these crowds, they're there raising their fist in the air, like getting into the music. It's not a heaven or hell thing or a Jesus or devil thing. It's just they love the music, and we put on a show and they love it. And it's so crazy how it has to be about that,
All right. Me and Alan will get on it. We'll get on this right after here. We'll get on it. We'll throw out some faxes, get on the horn. We'll make it happen for you.
Well, hey, man, you guys have always been on it. And as I said in a post recently, yesterday, I believe, you guys have always supported us, and you don't care about the naysayers and taking heat. And I'm sure you get heat. I see on your page sometimes you post something about Stryper and you get those guys, they suck. And it's that mentality. It's like, really? You really think we suck? Really? Wow. Okay.
I'm supporting. Look, I got my shirt.
No.
I brought my album. And you know what, Michael? Just for you, I brought my Bible. Just in case you quiz me. Michael.
You guys, I love it. But that's why I love you guys, because you're not afraid to take a stand, and you just enjoy the music and you support the band, and we're very, very grateful for that. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Another fellow we interviewed recently because of a great album and a great group called Iconic, Mr. Nathan James himself says, it's unfair how much talent you have that you can sing like that and play guitar the way you do. It's impossible to comprehend that somebody can have that much talent, is what he said when we interviewed him. So,
dude, that makes me, I don't even know what to say to that, because I honestly, I'm not kidding you. I beat myself up. I'm so hard on myself, and I feel like I'm mediocre at both, but I can do both, and I'm really grateful for that. I started out playing guitar, and I started singing after I played guitar for 3 or 4 years. I'm a guitarist first. And, I just got used to singing and playing guitar. And now when I don't play guitar, when I have to put the guitar down for a song, I feel awkward. I don't know what to do with myself. It's like I'm naked or something. I want to just hide. It's really weird. And so for Nathan, obviously, for him to say something like that, that's high praise right there, because he's one of my favorite current modern day vocalist, and what an amazing talent he is, and what an honor it is for me to be in a band with him, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about this new album. All right, the final
Stryper,
battle.
you mean?
Stryper, yes.
Because Iconic's only been
there's
a couple
Iconic
of
too.
months,
I mean, we plugged that one already, but now we're getting into the final battle. I mean, is this the apocalypse here? Is this the end of times? Is this a reflection of the end of the world as we know it today? Is the Revelations being fulfilled? Is that what you're saying here?
I'm saying a lot of things. There was even a little implication in my mind about this could be the last Stryper album, and people got worked up over that. But it was in the back of my mind. I'm not going to lie. And the reason why is because we've had our health concerns and things going on, and you just never know. I don't take any day for granted. This certainly could be our last album. I hope it's not. I don't want it to be. But that aside, that was a small little thing I was thinking about. The large part of what was in play in my mind with the title and the artwork, Lisa and I were discussing.
You know what? Let me show it as you talk about it. Yeah.
Is obviously the biblical stories about the Battle of Armageddon, which is, in my opinion, the final battle in terms of where, if you believe in the Bible, Christ will come back and basically Satan will be cast into the pit, and that'll be the final battle. And that's on the artwork. That's supposed to be the Lord returning and the four of us returning with the Lord. And we kind of purposely went back, a throwback to the original To Hell with the Devil album. And it's got a similar vibe to that, but just a 2022 look.
I liked it a lot.
We did that on purpose. And some people were like, most people love it, but some people were like, oh my gosh.
Michael, so the first guy on the horse is you would say the Jesus coming back, right? He's sort of like,
the one in the middle. Yes.
The one in the middle with the crowns, because he's wearing the crowns, right?
Yes.
Now, which guy are you? Okay, I see four guys in the background. Okay, the blonde, there's Perry and your brother who's blonde, right? So I would assume they're them two.
That's right. If you look to the far left, that's my brother.
Okay.
You look right next to him, that's me.
Hey.
Then you look right next to Christ, and that's Oz, I believe. Is it blonde or brunette?
He's brunette. He's brunette. So there's two brunettes and two blondes on the side.
Okay, that's Oz, and then the one next to Oz is Perry.
Perry with the 12-pack abs.
Yeah, we got
really pumping
and lightsabers. I like the lightsaber bit.
Dude, we went for the lightsaber bit. Some people were laughing at that. It's like, why wouldn't we?
That's it. It's cool, man. It's a great picture, man. I love that picture. Little Star Wars, little End of the Earth.
Oh,
I knew there'd be a quiz. I knew there'd be a quiz, Michael. And I'm ready. Don't you worry.
Look,
I love it. I love that artwork.
We don't take off our shirts on stage for one reason only. Because we don't want to show off our stomachs. We're built just like those guys.
Just like those guys. Yeah, Jim and I too.
Yeah.
Oh man, we gotta laugh. It's funny stuff.
Of course, you gotta laugh. A great artwork. And who's the artist, by the way?
That is, of course, the one and only Stan Decker.
Mm-hmm.
He did our last four prior to this one as well.
Yeah,
great artwork.
And we wanted to kind of stay in that series, and eventually we're gonna break off from that and do something different. But we've enjoyed that ride of sticking with those colors and that kind of epic look. Yeah, we love it.
They've been really great covers. I mean, a lot of positive feedback on those covers over the last four albums. So
I think what those covers do is they make you want to buy the album without hearing anything.
Yes.
They kind of, and that's how old albums.
It's kind of like a big change from this, right?
Well, I mean,
and in a way, it's the same, right? In a way, it's the same, and it's a way it's different, right?
Well, the A Team. To be fair to Stryper, that the A Team was very popular when that album came out.
Oh yeah, no,
it was. It's true.
And that van, I've got to tell you guys, if I haven't told you already, but did I tell you the story about how this is true?
Okay.
We used to go to the market and get groceries in that van.
That's true. I saw it like a cucumber. But
there was a 50 caliber machine gun on top of it.
Jeez, look at that.
And nobody pulled you over.
Nobody, because it didn't really shoot, but it was still on top. And we didn't get pulled over. And we would buy, bananas and apples and go home in that van with the 50 cal.
But to go back what you were saying, Michael, my friend Cork, that's how he did. He chose bands just on their album covers. So it does work.
It's true. Now, we found that to be the case, especially with To Hell with the Devil. Everyone wanted that album based just on the artwork alone.
Yeah.
And that's what made us realize how important artwork is. It really is important.
It sets the tone, right? It sets the tone of some way. It just sets the tone for the rest of the album to be heard.
Absolutely. And it's like I'm not a big fan of, although I'm a huge fan of Van Halen, I'm not a big fan of the albums that just have the VH on them or, just the logo or just, I like to see details and see a story being told with the art, right? I love that.
Yeah.
Spinal Tap, Smell the Glove.
What's that?
Spinal Tap.
Black.
Well, it's so black. It can't get any more blacker.
That was
okay.
Fun.
So you released 2 singles, Rise to the Call and Hear No Evil. I always get this. See No Evil, Hear No Evil, right? All right. So what's the rest of the album going to sound like? Are we going down this? And this is these are pretty strong tracks. In a way, a throwback, but in the same sense, it's a little new, the territory in the sense of a groove, maybe. A little bit. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, when I was writing the album, it was really important for me and the guys too, of course. We were all on the same page with this, but really important as I'm sitting here in this room, putting the songs together, to stick to our roots and not wander off that path too much, but at the same time, try to incorporate little differences here and there, just to give it its own special signature. That was important for me to do. And we wanted to come out strong out of the box, but not with our strongest out of the box. And that's what Transgressor will prove. That when you hear Transgressor, I'll never forget, I sent it to our agent, the whole album, and he called me right after listening to Transgressor, and he said, I mean this in a great way, but I feel like I've just been violated. Oh. He said, I feel like I've just been, the crap has just been beat out of me.
Yeah, I got you.
And he said, but I mean that in a good way.
Yeah. I hope so.
So why wouldn't you lead off with their strongest song then?
Because, once you lead off with the strongest song, which we've done in the past, I feel like the strongest heavy song on the last album was Blood from Above. And that's what we led with. You kind of have nowhere to go from there. And we led off with what we felt were really strong songs, but now just wait to see what's coming. That's the calm before the storm. The storm's going to come and it's going to shake things up. And when you hear Transgressor, I think you're going to go, whoa, because it's going to say that we're serious and it's going to say that we haven't gone anywhere and that this is our most powerful album. I really believe that.
Well, the first 2 songs are certainly powerful. We got a lot of those, those Queenish harmonies, I guess you could call them, right? But not overtaking the song, just enough to sort of to highlight or to just to keep it. What do you want to say? Melodic, perhaps? I don't know.
That's a good word. Enough? Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. What happened with Stryper is very odd, in the sense that when we were growing up as individuals, all 4 of us were raised on a very eclectic music, broad music base. So we listened to everything from the Beatles to Black Sabbath and everything in between. Yeah. So Queen, Journey, Van Halen, Dio, Maiden, Priest, the Bee Gees. I mean, we listen to so much stuff,
including country music.
We listen to country music. My parents are country singers and songwriters. Oz listened to Buck Owens. We listened to Buck Owens. We watched Hee Haw. I mean, and I think that played a really important role in how our songs and our sound has come together.
Yeah, and you can hear it. Like, I mean, the rest of the album compared to these first two songs, and of course, you just mentioned Transgressor. What can people expect?
Well, I mean, it's a really broad album. When you listen to the whole album from start to finish, you're going to see that there's some really aggressive metal tracks on there. There's some straight up mid-tempo songs. There's a few songs that are a little more modern. One of those is the second music video following Transgressor. That's called Same Old Story.
Okay.
Really powerful song. One of my favorites on the album. And then we've got a power rock ballad. It kind of reminds me a little bit in some ways of the Loverboy tune, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Canadian.
It's Over.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
You know,
Great song. Yeah.
just how the guitars kick in. I love that song, and that's a power ballad, and I love those kind of ballads. And we've got a couple songs that are a little bit more pop metal. So there's quite a broad spectrum in terms of how this album is laid out and sequenced.
Okay. All right. Alan?
Well, again, and I want to ask you about your triple threat, because did you produce this album as well, like you've done in the past?
I did, man, but these days I don't even talk about that anymore because nobody cares. If you get some big name producer, they care. If you don't, they don't care. But yeah, I've been producing all the Stryper albums. I produced this one as well. And I always say this humbly, never with an ego or an attitude. But I think producers for a band like Stryper are a complete waste of time and money. 100%. They're not
do it
gonna,
yourself. Yeah.
They're not going to bring anything to the table that we can't already bring, and we're going to lay out a lot of money and points to get there with them. And we've been there and done that, and we know what we want better than anybody. So that's why we don't hire a producer. And our albums, you put our albums against anyone else's albums, and they have their own unique sound, but they hold their own in terms of production. We have a great engineer, Danny Bernini. He is very musical and just such an incredible asset. So we couldn't do it without him, for sure.
What about
Max Norman? Max Norman, we interviewed him a few times. So what's the secret of your success? He's like, when you got a great band and great musicians, I'm just the engineer at that point, kind of thing. So
he's guiding them, yeah.
I'm telling you, it's true. I'll never forget when we worked with Michael Wagner on that album you held up earlier, Soldiers in the Command. Mm-hmm. We went into the studio and we were very prepared. We had every note worked out, every single guitar lick, note, part, everything. All he did was push record and we performed it. And after every take, he would be smiling ear to ear and say, that's great. That's great, and it's just, we had everything worked out. And Michael obviously made it sound great and brought his clout and his name and all that he has, which is amazing, to the table. Mm-hmm. But we knew what we wanted and how to achieve that. And it was very easy for him to produce and record Stryper. Very easy.
But was Michael, I always got the impression he was more of an engineer than a producer as well,
No, Michael's very, very much a producer and a very musical guy. He used to be a guitar player. He brings a lot to the table in the guitar area, because he's very into guitar tones and achieving the best guitar tones you can achieve. But no, he's absolutely a producer as well. But yes, it is true that he's a brilliant engineer. So he's both, and that's hard to find. You don't usually find that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you my next question, but before I do, I'm going to ask everybody out there your number one all-time favorite Stryper song. And I'll just read them after I ask you this question.
Number one all-time.
Your all-time. If you had to pick one Stryper song, like you were not allowed to listen to anything else, but you had to pick one Stryper song, which one would that be? Okay. We know the top 3. We could do top 10. We could do top 20.
Man, that's so hard, buddy. That's
number
so hard.
one. Pick one.
I always pick a classic and a modern, but if I have to pick only one, I'm going to upset a lot of people. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go with Yahweh.
I would say
Good
so
choice,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's
so
an
now
epic.
I'm going to read what people are saying now. Okay, people in the chat here. Paul saying no more hell to pay. Mike is saying reason for the season. Robert saying wanna makes me sing. I can't pronounce his name, is saying soldiers. Kathy saying blood from above. Rich at the Metal Asylum is saying to hell with the devil, but writing on the wall. Yasmin saying always there, be always there for you. The Valley, soldiers under command. Yahweh, Yahweh, another Yahweh. Soldiers under command. That's Kiss Army Revenge. Jay saying calling on you. Frank saying soldiers. Justin saying take it to the cross. King Diamond / Stryper saying take it to the cross. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's that whole thing.
All right. So here's the question. What happened with this tour? I mean, I know you briefly sent out a press release or a post and it was picked up the media and you just said, look, we can't rent a bus. We're releasing an album, but we can't go on tour to support it, or we have to postpone it because maybe you want to fill us in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the deal. And it comes down to the number one reason being we could not secure a bus. And some people will kind of say, what? How is that possible? It literally came down to that, where we were talking to different bus companies, and then we were talking to one in particular. We thought we had a bus set up in a line, and then we were told we don't have a bus. And basically what happened over the past few months is buses started being leased out for double the price.
Oh, yeah.
And bands were paying it.
Yeah.
And we found ourselves in a position where we can't afford to pay that because, Stryper's a, $10K a night on a good night band. Okay. And sometimes we get 15, sometimes we get 20, sometimes we get 25 if we play a big festival or something. But when we go on a bus run and we do touring, usually it's on average around maybe 10K a night. And when you pay all the bills and you got the bus, you're pulling a trailer, you're paying this big crew, you got all this stuff going on, we can't come home tour after tour in the red. Because at the end of the year, we've got so much red and so much debt that we can't afford to tour any longer. So you add to that a bus being double the price, and it's like, okay, we can't do this run. So what we did is we postponed the run instead of canceling. A lot of people were confused. They thought we canceled. We didn't cancel. We just postponed, and it was only part of the run.
Yeah.
Okay. And then of course, Blabbermouth, I guess posted about it, and some people tried to turn it into we're over and done with, and we can't afford to tour, and we're washed up, and all this kind of nonsense. And it wasn't about that at all. It's just that we couldn't secure a bus.
You know what I was thinking? Why not use this bus? Drive around in this bus on tour. That's what I'm thinking.
Where's that band today?
Where's that band? That's what I was just thinking as you were talking about this.
Man, if we had to use that bus, we would be dying, because if we were 18, we could do it. But when you're 60 years old, you can't do that. No way.
Perrin's also saying not to mention the fuel that you put in the bus, but I think that's the reason why the bus prices have doubled, because of the fuel
supply and demand.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that too, the cost of fuel and all the wear and tear, and then you got the cost of the drivers now, and you got the overtime. All of a sudden you go out there on a run, and you get home and you go, we got to pay what for the bus only, and it's just insane. So I think what happens is a lot of bands continue to deal with that bull crap because they have no choice. Stryper is in a little different position where we can postpone, or we can do other things to kind of make up for it, and we can continue on. But we're not going to pay to play, and we're not going to go in debt when we go out and tour. We just can't operate that way. We're trying to be smart. We can't do it.
Yeah, why would
nobody
can. Exactly.
Yeah,
we spoke with Michael Wilton when he was here in town, and he said the tour was going great until they hit the West Coast, and that's when the cost of gas jumped up.
Yeah.
And he said there was no way we budgeted for that high of a spike. And we're talking months ago, but
oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. And when you're out there, we were out there for a while when the fuel started rising, and at the end of the tour, we got hit quite an astronomical amount over and above what we had budgeted, right? And you're just sitting there going, okay, how do we cover this? The tour's over. And this is the real life stuff that not just Stryper has to think of, but pretty much most bands on the planet have to think of. Not all.
Yeah, bands are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to who is important in society. They're just at the bottom and nobody cares. You know, you can't sell albums, you can't produce vinyl, and you can't go on tour. You know, it's just,
it's true. It's becoming more and more difficult for bands to survive. And yeah, you see all these bands touring, but even that's a problem. So many bands, because they weren't touring during the pandemic and the downtime, so many bands are out touring now that, there's oversaturation. And it makes it difficult for some other bands to tour. And, it's just a tough time right now, but we're going to get through it. Everybody's going to be fine. Everyone's going to be okay. I'm not concerned.
Well, I looked at the album cover. It doesn't look like things are going to be fine there, Michael. I looked at the album cover. It looks like the end is near. The final battle is here.
I got in heat over that because I made the comment in an interview about the end times. A guy asked me, do you think we're in the end times? And I said, yeah, I do kind of think we are. Now, I didn't put a specific date. I'm not a whack job. I view myself as a relatively intelligent guy. I don't sit around. I don't have a shelter filled with food.
Filled with guitars, it looks like. Looks like it's filled with guitars and recording equipment.
I got a shelter filled with guitars and recording equipment. I'll be eating wood if something happens. But man, I'm not crazy in that sense, but people try to paint you out to be that way. I just think that, again, I believe in the Bible. The Bible talks about everything that we're seeing right now. And, I believe that we're kind of seeing it all unfold before our eyes. Will that be a year? Will it be 20 years? Will it be 100 years? I don't know. I have no clue, but I do think that the times we're living in are definitely questionable, to say the least.
I would agree.
And unstable.
Yeah. It's funny because at the turn of the millennia, is that how you pronounce it? Before, 1,000, right? People were really, questioning things. And every time there's some sort of, major change in society, people, look to it and they look for the signs. And
oh yeah, well,
and again, nobody knows, right? But you can only speculate, right?
Nobody knows. And see, I was one of those guys when we were at Y2K, when we were going into the year 2000.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone was talking about the computer shutting down and we're going to have problems. And I was one of the few guys that I'm like, we're going to be fine. I'm not a conspiracist and a weird guy that gets, I'm not a flat earther and one of these guys that thinks these crazy things, but I try to be reasonable with my thoughts and weigh things out. And of course, research. But man, look, who can argue with the fact that you look around and you see what's going on in our world, that, things aren't always good. So it's definitely, like I said, there's issues going on that make me believe, like, these aren't the greatest of times. There's still good things going on, good people, but man, there's a lot of darkness in this world right now.
Just on another point, I remember when credit cards were sort of becoming popular when I was a kid, they thought that was sort of like buy and trade with numbers, like they thought that was sort of the end of times. Here's my philosophy on this. You'll never know. You'll never know because you won't expect it and you'll never know.
I think as technology advances, we draw closer to the end of times. And what I mean by that is, now anyone can hack your computer, hack your credit card, hack your bank account. These are the times we live in because of technology.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by a statement like that. With the weaponry that's available now and the people that can use it and abuse it, it could lead to the end of the world. It takes one person, hitting the button on a nuclear warhead, and it's like, okay, I guess this is it. And that's my point is I think we're definitely living in end times, but who can put a date on it? I'm not trying to put a date on it.
No. We're speculating here. We're speculating from what we see around us. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay to speculate. Right.
So, we always like talking to music with you, Michael. What's been the feedback that you've been receiving on Iconic? Because I can't stop listening to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, brother, the feedback has been incredible. The label was ecstatic over the response and the sales. They're talking already about getting in the studio and doing another album. Obviously talking about the band touring, that's going to be tricky because we're all in different projects. And, you know, my first priority is Stryper and always will be. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But man, I mean, what a great album. What a great album and band to be a part of. I'm blessed that anybody wants to work with me on any level. And, you know, I've got so many things going on right now. Obviously, it's weird to come out of a release like Iconic and then jump right into a release like Stryper. It's kind of weird, you know, it almost feels like too much, but this is life. This is the way it works. And again, no complaints. I'm very excited about the Stryper album. I'm excited about a new metal album I'm working on with CJ Grimark from Sweden. The music's done for that. No date on that, but it's killer. I can't wait till you guys hear it. I think you guys are going to love it. And I got this inspirational album that's already done. And I started a new album with Alessandro from Frontiers.
Oh my God, jeez.
Coming up in like 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And then I just finished the Sweet Lynch album. And I just turned that in like 3 weeks ago. So it's crazy, guys. It's really crazy. And I love it, you know, and I love the fact that people want to work with me. And I'm a very, very blessed guy. I have nothing to complain about at all.
What about this live stream? Tell us about, is this going to be with an audience? Is it going to be in a studio? What's that going to be about?
That is going to be in the club that we're playing, Trees, in Dallas.
Okay.
So it's actually going to be a live show, full band, and we're going to stream that live show. So mistakes and all, me going, ah! You know, and cracking, you're going to hear it. But it's going to be really cool, man. We did that in Nashville at the Basement East, and we're doing it again at Trees in Dallas.
Okay.
Full show live.
It's all we're going to do, we're going to give the people what they want. We're going to come out and do Calling on You 21 times.
Okay. I want to ask the people out there watching, give me a really good question to ask Michael Sweet. I want a good one. I want just a good question.
Well, look, I'll go to my favorite Stryper song. And you know, the one that when I'm doing the dishes or I'm walking around the house, I find myself singing is You Know What to Do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a surprise. I mean, I can name you 10 that I prefer to that one, but for some reason, that's the one I'm singing all the time.
Wow, dude, that's amazing. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm pleasantly surprised. You know what? That's one. If someone said pick your favorite off of the first album, that'd be the one I'd pick.
You know, maybe it's because I'm living alone now. It's like, are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling blue? Like maybe that's it. I don't know either. Because
that could
like
be.
I said, you know, Soldiers Under Command's a strong song, Yahweh, but that's the one I find myself singing around the house. So
you know what that is? That's one of the first official Stryper songs that I ever wrote, and it's got that melodic but edgy sense to it. And it's just a cool song, and it's very classic Stryper. First video we ever did as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
The chorus is so catchy.
Oh, good, man. Well, I'm glad you like that. And that plays on the vocal stack stuff. That shows you our influence from bands like Queen and even the Beach Boys and Journey. And we love vocals, love background vocals.
All right, here we go. Here's the questions. You can make them quick and sweet, just so we can, no pun, but would you ever do a church tour? I like that. Robert says, would you ever do a church tour?
You know what? We would consider a church tour if it was done right. In other words, if we could go in there and do full production and rock it, and there were no limitations on decibels and sound and this sort of thing, and full-blown Stryper show, sure, why not?
Paulo, your thoughts on Merciful Fate?
Oh, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not like I listen to Merciful Fate all the time. I don't own any Merciful Fate albums, but I have, of course, heard them, and I'm very familiar with King Diamond, and nothing but respect. My gosh, you know, amazing singer, amazing band. Obviously, they represent a little bit of a difference in what we represent. You know, the
alternate view.
An alternate view, flip side of the coin, whatever you want to call it. And I don't have a problem with that. Nothing but respect. And I've never met King Diamond, and my brother has. I'd love to meet him someday and be able to tell him in person how much I respect his vocal ability and everything that he's done.
Very cool. I met King.
Oh, did you? Was he a nice
Yes,
guy?
I did. You know what? It's just like he's just wearing makeup, at the end of the day. And he's just,
Yeah.
representing a sort of a scare thing, some sort of image, right? Look, I don't know
Right.
what
So
his
he's just
personal beliefs are, but
so he's just a regular guy. Seems like a regular guy.
very,
Yeah.
actually, he sat there and he spoke to me for like 15, 20 minutes. He was so nice and polite. And
Wow.
yeah, it wasn't a meet and greet either. I was just there backstage with Andy LaRocque, and he goes, "Here, I'll introduce you to King." And King just started talking to me, talking to me,
Oh,
talking to
that's
me.
so awesome.
Yeah, it was really a really nice moment.
That's
And
really cool,
the other
man.
thing, Mike, I don't know if you heard, but Steve Grimmett has passed away
Yes,
recently, and I want to know if you've ever met him and what you thought of his vocals.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, man, I never met Steve. I've met Nick. And I actually jammed with Nick Bocott at Sweetwater. We did Crazy Train with Rudy Sarzo. And I love Steve's voice. Of course, very familiar with Grim Reaper. I remember seeing, I'll see you now, and going, whoa, what? Way back. And it's nothing but respect for him. And it's so heartbreaking to see what he went through, right? Mm-hmm. With his leg and the situation with his health over the years. And it threw me off guard, man. And it made me realize, like, it could be any one of us. I mean, tomorrow is never promised.
No.
And it's why it's so important for us to take care of ourselves and enjoy every moment, because we just don't know what tomorrow brings. And God bless him and his family, man. I never met him. I always heard he was a sweetheart of a person, and always wanted to meet him, but I never did.
Here's another question from Paul. He says, any plans to come back to England? It's been a while, right? Since you've been to England.
Oh, man. Yeah. Last time we were in England, I want to say was 2010. If I'm not mistaken. So that's way too long. We usually try to go to different parts of the world every 2, 3, 4 years. So you're talking about, 12 years, almost 13 years. That's crazy. We got to get back to England. I love England. Absolutely, always have. Holds a very special place in my heart. We shot our Honestly video there at the Hammersmith Odeon, and I just love it there. We had spent a few vacations there, drove from London to Wales and back. Yeah. And I love the people, I really do. I love the food. I just love it. The spirit there. But man, we got to get back there. Hopefully we will soon. It's just very costly. It's hard to go and tour Europe right now for a band like us.
Okay. Alan, you got anything else?
No, I mean, I just, you teased us for so long about the Joel Hoekstra album that you were working on. I forgot it finally came out. We haven't, we spoke to Nathan. Nathan, he told us he's ready to go. Sign me up for another 2 or 3 albums, and the goal would be put on a couple of shows for sure, as far as he's concerned. So I'm glad after years of talking about this legendary or mythic album that it finally came out, and now we're looking forward to the Stryper release. So,
well, it's funny because even this album, Iconic, that you're referring to, isn't the real Joel Hoekstra, Michael Sweet album. We wanted to do an album just him and I, but it's great. It'll work, and we're just happy that we were able to do something together, and we talk about that. Joel's such a sweetheart. I love Joel. Always have from the first time I met him. He's just a stand-up guy. He's salt of the earth kind of dude, one of my favorites in this business, and I love him. And any opportunity that I have to work with him, I'm there. Not even a question in my mind ever. He's played on my solo albums, and we've done a few videos together, and he's just such a cool dude and such a talent, So when we go tour, if we do with Iconic, I'm gonna have to rehearse extra hard. I'll start a few years in advance.
You could tell Alan really likes the album. You could tell he really likes the album.
We didn't have a chance to talk to Michael about it,
That's right. That's right. Okay, here's the last question, because I know you have to go off and you got another interview. And this is you, Michael. Your least favorite Stryper song.
Oh, my least
favorite Stryper song.
I think it's pretty common knowledge that everyone knows and I think I mentioned this in my book. There's a song called "Come to the Everlife," and it just so happens that Oz wrote that song, so it's nothing to do with Oz at all.
Okay.
It really has nothing to do with Oz, but some might think that it does, but it doesn't. But that song, I'll never forget when I had to sing that song. Inside, what was going through my mind, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, how do I sing this and mean it? And how do I sing it with passion? Because every song that I sing, I want to sing with passion and feel it, mean it. That's really important as a singer. And that one, I just couldn't feel it, you know, the groove, the melody, the lyrics. That would, if I had to pick one, that would probably be the one I would choose out of all of them. That would be it.
Okay. You know, well, it's very honest of you. Alan, what about you?
Oh, no.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
No. I want to hear from you guys. Come on, man.
I don't know. I you know what? You know why I don't know? Because I haven't really thought about it. That's why. I'm sure there's one song that I don't love, but I just haven't thought about it. That's all. But I know you did think about it.
There's a lot of songs I don't love. I can name you a list of 20 Stryper songs that I don't love that I skip. But I mean, the one that I probably love the least would be that one.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
A twist on it. You're a song that you really connect to vocally, and you can really put the emotion in, regardless if it's a Stryper or solo song.
Oh man, that's a great question. Really good question. I know I'll stick with Stryper since we're on Stryper. When I'm live and I'm singing and we're performing, the songs that always kind of go up to a little higher level because I can feel them a little bit more. Songs like All for One. I don't know what it is about that song, but maybe it's the message, maybe it's the melody, I don't know. Other songs like, obviously we don't perform it often, but First Love. You know, when we perform First Love, it's like I can feel
a good song. Yeah.
Sometimes I get goosebumps when I perform it, not because of me, but because just the song, something about it. Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a great question. But I'll come back at you with a few more songs down the road because there's many songs that I get that feeling for.
Yeah. I know. On the spot, it's tough to sort of really, come up with something, right? It is.
Man.
All right. On that note, Stryper's new album, The Final Battle, is due in October. Frontiers Music. Then there's a live stream. Go, buy a ticket. Go pre-order the album. It's Dallas, Thursday, September 29th. A live stream starts at 9 p.m. Like you said, it's in front of an audience.
Yep.
And check out everything else that's going on with the band on all the social media. Is there anything else you want to promote before we let you go?
Well, brothers, we got a lot going on. We got the new album coming out in October, as you said. And then after that, we're going to really focus finally on our documentary.
Oh, there it is. Yes.
Yeah, we've been putting together a team to do that and to do it right. That was most important. And now that we're at that point, we're going to really focus on that at the end of the year and, of course, all of next year. And we're going to tour for this album, The Final Battle, next year as well. And we're just thrilled that we're able to go out and tour. We're still able to do it. I'm thankful for everything that I can do. And man, I never take any second of any hour of any day for granted. And I'm a blessed man, and I'm happy to be alive. And man, I hope you guys, we can get together for dinner.
Yeah.
We're going to hold you to it.
Well, listen, when we get up to your neck of the woods or you get down to our neck of the woods and we're in the same vicinity, we're going to go to dinner and have a great meal and break some bread and actually talk a little bit in person. That would be fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And before we let you go, how's the eye? Because a lot of people are wondering.
Yes.
The eye is doing good, man. I showed you earlier. I'll show you again. It's you can just see it's a little on the red side,
Can you see? Do you have any visual? Is it blurry?
I can see the phone and the light in front of me right now, but I just can't still quite make out detail. And my doctor says that that's going to get better and better as time goes on. They basically had to put a new lens on my eye. It's over my cornea, so it's on the outside of my eye.
Wow.
Yeah, because the reason why they did that was to keep my lens away from my retina inside. because my retina's detached twice. They don't want that to detach again. And, you know, I got some peripheral blindness up here. It looks like someone drew a Sharpie up there. It's blacked out. But I'm getting used to that. And once I get used to it, I should be fine. And, you know, I'm trying to keep this side from doing the same. I got to be real careful. I can't jump out of any planes.
No.
And I can't, basically, I can't kick the crap out of
Put down the lightsabers.
I was told not to kick anybody's butt, man. And it's like, you know, that's what I do on a daily basis, you know?
How about Oz, quickly, as we have a few minutes left?
Yeah.
He's doing great, man. Oz is doing great.
It's a miracle, isn't it?
Yeah. He's bounced back amazingly well. Incredible.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So we're still going, man. And now hopefully we won't have to worry about Robert and Perry. They'll stay healthy, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? Congratulations on the Metal Hall of Fame induction. Now it's going to be almost a year, but, you know, congrats to the Stryper for that.
Thank you, guys.
Award.
I got my award right over there, and that was really incredible. And like I said earlier, you know, if anybody thinks of us, it always blows my mind, because I guess we're so used to, you know, kind of not being thought of in many ways. But man, when someone awards us with something like that and kind of it respects what we do, and it's incredible. It blows our minds. We're all humbled by it. And it drives us to keep going. It really does. It moves us. Amazing.
And I've witnessed it, Michael, at many concerts. There's a whole new generation coming up in their late teens and 20s that are discovering the older bands, and they love it as much as we did back in the 80s.
I love it, man. Thank God, because I think some of the best music came out of that era, the 70s and the 80s. Just incredible music. And it's really sad when people don't know about that. You ask them about, hey, have you ever heard of Dio? And it's like, I've never heard of Dio. It's like, what? You know? What do you mean? It blows my mind. But anyway, that's awesome. I love it.
Michael, you know what? It's kind of like, you know, a friend being on, just chatting with us. And it's always a pleasure having you on. You know, it's for 11 years we've had you on. It's always great to know that you're always busy and you're always doing good. And you know what? Congrats on the new album so far. We haven't heard it, but we've heard the first 2 songs and they sound great. Man,
you know what? We got to get you guys the full length so you can hear it. I'm surprised you don't have that yet.
No. Because we're too quick. We just, hey, let's do an interview. Let's go.
Slap it on your to-do list.
I'll talk to the label and make sure you guys get that, because I want you to hear it. And
all right.
I think you guys are going to like it. I sure hope you do.
Well, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we're consistent Stryper fans throughout thick and thin, so I'm sure we'll like it.
Well, I love you guys for that. It's so great to have you guys on our team, and you're always there for us, not to be, no pun intended. Yeah. And we appreciate it, man. We're thankful for you guys. We really are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you on the road, my friend. Have yourself a great day.
You guys are awesome. God bless. See you soon.